Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new then welcome. My name's Christina, and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments that you have for me down below. Within the last couple of weeks, I have been collecting brand new drugstore makeup, and I want to do a video showing you guys all of the brand new drugstore stuff that I have found. Some of these things I have tested out a couple of times now, and some of these things are brand new to me, so you're going to be getting my first impressions, my first thoughts on them. I feel like there's been a lot from the drugstore that has really caught my eye, so this is the look that I came up with, a very natural, just very everyday, very me type of makeup look, I would say. So if you guys are interested to see how I got this look and you want to see these new makeup products, then let's get started. To begin, I want to talk about these new bronzing drops. Since we are going into spring and then eventually summertime, all of the brands are going to start coming out with bronzy products such as these. I have the Pacifica ones as well as the Physician Formula one. I bought this one from Ulta, and I tried to get this from Ulta twice, and then they canceled my order twice. So I ended up getting it on Amazon. It is a lot smaller than I anticipated, but it's still 1 fluid ounce. It's just that the packaging is quite small. This is also 1 fluid ounce. So essentially they're the same size. They just look different packaging wise. I just wanted to point that out to you guys. I figured we would try one on either side of the face, and I'm going to be mixing it with my sunscreen today because I already did my skincare and everything. I'm just going to mix it with this Round Lab sunscreen. Anything would work, honestly. You could do it with a sunscreen, a moisturizer, a serum, or you can apply it on your face as is, just the bronzing drops. I have an idea that this is supposed to be similar to the Drunk Elephant drops, and with those I always mixed it with some sort of other product because alone it would just be really dark and streaky and kind of splotchy on the skin. So on this side of the face, let's go ahead and do the Physicians Formula one. As you can see, we do have this little dropper right here. Seems like a pretty standard dropper, and it actually does hold the product really well. I'm gonna do a little swatch for you guys so you can see the color of this. Nice golden color, and it's quite neutral. I will say that there's not too much orangey, too much red in there. It seems like a really standard, almost caramel-like look, doesn't it? That's one drop right there, so I figured that's enough for one side of my face. So I'm just going to add a little bit of sunscreen to this swatch right here, just about that much, and then we're gonna go ahead and mix it up. It just slightly lightens it just enough. So I'm just going to add this to the face, and obviously you can change up how bronzy your skin is depending on how many drops you use, how much product you use to mix it with. It's a very flexible formula, which is actually one of the things I like about this concept when it comes to bronzing drops. You can really customize just how much you want, so it can kind of cover all sorts of different complexions. Does this have a scent? I think it has a very subtle sweet scent, like a little bit tropical, but really not much. So this is what it looks like on my skin. It hardly did anything in my opinion, but I will say that because I know that I put it on, I can kind of see it right here on my cheek a little bit. My forehead, actually, I think I'm seeing the most difference because I feel like you can see the darkness right up there a little bit more. But what do you guys think? I feel like I could add another drop, but I don't want to go too crazy. So let's move on to the Pacifica side. It does have this little squeezy tube right here, and I'm going to try to dispense what I think is one drop. Well, kind of. It like comes out in a string. I think that's like a drop. As you can see with this one, it's kind of holding its texture. It's not really running down the hand the same way the Physicians Formula did. It does look a little bit darker, but again, it seems like a pretty nice neutral shade right there. And when you actually like smear it, it does look slightly lighter, but it still looks a little bit darker than the Physicians Formula one in my opinion. I'm gonna add the same amount of sunscreen right there and mix it up. All right, looks about the same. So I'm just applying this on the skin. This one kind of looks a little more pink. Like, I don't know if it's because I didn't mix the sunscreen in there enough. I feel like this one was slightly more creamy, while the Physicians Formula was slightly more runny, and therefore it felt a little bit thinner on the skin. Okay, here's what both sides of the face are looking like. I feel like I can tell the Pacifica one is there a little bit more than the Physicians Formula one, but again, neither of them are too in your face. I did only use 1 drop though, so keep that in mind. I think standard would probably be anywhere between 1 to 3 drops. Now let's compare the shades. We have the Pacifica one right here, and then we have the Physicians Formula one right here. Physicians Formula does look a little bit lighter than Pacifica. Let's go ahead and blend it out, like do a little smear. Pacifica looks like it's a little bit more warm tone, while the Physicians Formula one looks a little bit more neutral in my opinion. And as far as the amount of shimmer, seems like because the Pacifica one is more of that cream texture, it almost looks a little bit more metallic, and the Physicians Formula one seems to kind of like blend out a little bit better. So I think if you're trying to decide between the two, just depends on the finish that you want. If you want something that looks way more bronzy, then maybe the Pacifica one would be a good one for you. And if you want something that feels a little bit more lightweight, then I think Physicians Formula would be the way to go, and just add more drops if you want it to be more bronze. They both feel comfortable and normal on the skin, just feels like a regular sunscreen, you know, but I will say that the Physicians Formula side does feel slightly lighter than the Pacifica one. And by lighter, I mean lightweight, not color, but that too. Next up, I did get this package in the mail yesterday from Makeup Revolution. This is their Skin Silk Skin Loving Serum Foundation. And I love that it says, "For you" by Christina Studio. I love that. That's so cute. They sent me 3 different shades here of their new foundation. It is that serum foundation. It says it's a radiant satin finish, light to medium coverage, soft as silk, light as air. They sent me the shades F8.5, F10, and F12. So I'm gonna look at these shades. I don't know which one's gonna be the best match for me. Right off the bat, 8.5 looks like it's going to be a little bit light, just based on what I can see from the packaging. Here's 8.5, 10 is in the middle, and then 12 is right here. I think I'm going to be anywhere between 10 and 12. I really don't know too much about these foundations other than what it says on the mailer here, but this is what it looks like. It does have this kind of matte ombre on the packaging, which I think is really pretty. It sounds really runny. It does come with a pump, so let's see what shade I may be. That came out super liquidy, not surprising. Neither of these look like they're gonna be my perfect shade. I think that I might have to mix them. So F10 looks like it's gonna be the closest, but still a little bit light. And then F12 is right there. So I think what I'm gonna do is mix the 2 shades. I have this F106 brush, and I'm just going to take a little bit of both, maybe a little more of F10, and just mix these 2 together to try and get a shade that works better for me. Okay, I think this may work. It looks like it's getting a little bit too pink though. Should we try it? We'll just try it. Just gonna put a little bit on the face here. It does have a scent. It's a little bit floral, and I'm just packing this in with my BK106 brush. It's definitely a bit too pink for my skin tone. I'm just gonna add a little bit more 10 and just 10. I'm not adding any of the 12 to this mix. It does feel really nice on the skin though. It's definitely a very lightweight, very serum-y type of texture. There's absolutely no cream to it, I don't think. And it seems to be blending out fairly well. Definitely have to bring this down my neck. Here's what the foundation is looking like. I definitely feel like it's kind of pulling a little bit too cool, like a little too pink on my skin tone. I'm wondering if 10 alone would have been fine for me. I'm not sure, because it definitely didn't seem like it like when I swatched it on my neck and on my chin. Maybe if they have a 10.5 or an 11 shade, that one would work for me. But I think I can kind of get this to look good with a little bit of concealer just to get it to like match the rest of my body. Other than the shade though, I think that this looks really nice on the skin. It looks very natural. There's definitely a lot of glow, a lot of hydration here, as you guys can see. I kind of figured it would because it is a serum foundation, and typically if something is marketed as a serum foundation, then we know that it's going to be lighter in weight and texture and a little bit more dewy. And I also feel like it's not emphasizing my pores right up here. I almost feel feel like it sort of like filled it in a very flattering type of way. I'm gonna go ahead and add some concealer. I don't have a new one to really talk about from the drugstore, so I'm just gonna do that off camera and I'll be back to do the rest of our stuff. This is what the complexion is looking like after we did the foundation and the concealer. I did use the Hourglass Vanish concealer here in the shade Sienna. That's the only one that I used just to like brighten up the face a little bit and neutralize it just a little. I think it's looking a lot better now. So let's move on to the bronzer. For bronzer today, I do have this Cheek Kiss bronzer from Milani. It is in the shade 130 Spicy Season. And this one I have used already. I've tested it out a little bit. I also purchased the Winkylux bronzers. I have it in Ibiza and Santorini, and these are both really, really nice. They're a liquid bronzer, so they're a little bit different than this cream bronzer, but I have this one that I want to talk about because I also purchased the Winkylux blush, so we're going to use that one. I'm just going to apply this with the BK 109 brush. I finally got my hands on this one. It's just a smaller version of the 101 brush, which is perfect for bronzer. BK Beauty actually sent this one to me, and they did give me a coupon code. It's not an affiliate code. If you guys want to use it to get some money off of your purchase, you can, and I'll link it down below. The link is an affiliate link though, just so you know, so it'd be great if you use it, but if not, I totally understand. But I'm going to be using this for the bronzer today, and what I've been liking to do is actually dipping in there, getting a good amount, and then just to make sure that it's nice and blended in there, I just kind of go on to the back of my hand. As you can see, that is super pigmented, and then I'll go in on my face, because if not, all of that pigment would have just hit one side of my cheek at the same time, and that's a lot, you know. I like to go in with a really light hand with this because this product is pigmented. I just like to work in sections, one side of the face at a time, because it does dry down really nicely, but you want to make sure that you blend it out before it completely dries down. It's definitely a little bit darker, so I wouldn't use this with another bronzing product. Like, this is my contour and bronzer all in one because it's just a lot. Now, I could get a lighter shade. I think that I probably should get a lighter shade so I can use it as just like a bronzer, you know, but this one just looked like it would do the most for my skin, so that's why I picked up this shade. But I think I can make it work. Like, see, that looks really nice, right? It feels extremely thin on the skin though, you guys. It doesn't feel like a tacky layer of bronzer or anything like that. It feels very lightweight. Like, I can barely feel an extra layer on top of the foundation that I already have on, and I like that about it. I was thinking that it was going to be an exact dupe for the Makeup by Mario Self Sculpt Enhancer, this one right here, my like holy grail right here, but this is definitely a lot more thin and serum-y than this one is, and this is a lot more pigmented. So you just got to be careful. You just got to work with it a little bit, you know. It definitely blends really nicely though. I have no complaints on that, but you have to be very careful with how much you use. All right, now we're gonna go in with the blush. Again, this is from Winkylux. This is a new liquid blush, and it's in the shade Queen. It reminds me of the Profusion one, the She Glam ones. Like, it is that same format, and I like this liquid blush because I feel like it dries down really lovely on the skin, and it stays put for a really long time. So taking another BK Beauty brush, this is a 113. I'm just going to take this swatch again. Now, with this product, I find that I can dot it onto the skin, or I can take it from the top of my hand right here. This is one of the products I find has a lot of versatility when it comes to application. I think it works nicely no matter how I do it. Really nice amount of pigmentation. If you're expecting this to be like a Rare Beauty dupe, don't expect that, because this is definitely going to have a lot more water content, I want to say, so it like shears really well, which I don't think is a terrible thing, honestly. I think it makes it really nice to work with, and I'm just gonna dot on both sides. I don't think it dries too quickly, so I'm able to do that without getting too nervous about it like drying as a dot on my skin, you know? Now, I will say, if you go in with a little too much like I did right here, it definitely takes off that concealer that I had on there, and that concealer was dry, so it will remove complexion products on there if you just go in with too much and it gets like really slippery. So just be wary of that. I am going to go in with powder, and that'll kind of eliminate a little bit of the color there. like make it a little bit more sheer or subtle, I guess. And like I said with the bronzer, I think that layering with very thin layers is key with these products. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do these lip stains. I got these brand new lip stains from Sacheu. They're brand new shades, not brand new formulas. I have the shade Hazel and Clover. I did attempt to put this all over the lips like I have with the previous shades. Those shades are a lot lighter than these. I'll stick a photo up here so you guys can see what this is supposed to look like once it's stained and you peel off the stain portion of it. Don't put this on your entire lips if you're my shade or lighter, because it will look insanely dark on your complexion. It just looked like I took a very dark brown marker and just like scribbled into my lips. I had to like scrub it off with a face oil. Oh my gosh, it was kind of funny when I did it. So today we are going to use this as a lip liner. I'm going to use the shade Hazel because this one is supposed to be a little bit lighter. If you've never seen it, it's kind of like a lip mask type of thing that you peel off. I think I'm going to do it where I usually go the darkest. So it'll be at the bottom of my bottom lip, at my Cupid's bow, and a little bit on the corners to kind of further define them. All right, that looks so funny, but we'll just see what this looks like. I've never done this before. I've never done like pinpoint areas like this. This looks really funny to me, but I'm gonna go ahead and set a timer for about 10 minutes. You can leave it on. It says a maximum of 20 minutes, but because I don't want it to be full force, I think I'm gonna start with 10 minutes. And if I have to add a little bit more, then we'll just do it again. We'll do that. We'll let that sit and we'll move on to eyes. You know what? I don't have any eye products that I want to talk about. So the next two products we have are the same thing, but just a different color. These are the Makeup Revolution Baked Highlighters. I have one in the shade Bronze Baddie and the other one in the shade Pink Seduction. I guess I got really excited that we're seeing like more baked products right now. So I bought both of them. I thought like I would just get a regular highlighter version right here, like this gold highlight. I think usually looks really nice on my skin tone. But then I also got Pink Seduction to go on top of like different blushes and stuff and just give an extra glow, especially if we're talking like more matte shades. So here is Pink Seduction, and then here is Bronze Baddie. They're beautiful. They're slightly more metallic, but definitely more of a sheen versus glitter to them. And because they are a baked formula, I'm pretty sure that when you pick it up with a brush, it's just gonna kind of deposit itself really nicely to where it's a little bit more toned down than this. I wanna go ahead and try Pink Seduction on top of that Winkylux blush. Wait, before we do that, our 10 minutes is up with this lip mask, so let's go ahead and peel it off. So I'm just gonna go like this to loosen it, and then we're just gonna peel what we can. I did not go in with a thick layer, so might be kind of difficult. All right, so this is what it's looking like. It's actually not terrible. Well, this part right here looks a little funny, but the Cupid's bow and the bottom right here I think looks really, really nice. So before we go in with the highlight, just to get the full effect here, I'm gonna add my lip color, and I'm just gonna be using Milani Spice and then the NYX Fat Oil. I talked about Milani Spice recently in like products you shouldn't forget, and since then I've been using it again and I've been loving it. So I'm just gonna kind of connect where that lip stain is and kind of go over it a little bit. This is in the shade Link in My Bio. I think that this one's definitely my favorite one. Pretty. There is what that looks like. Okay, and now let's go in with the highlight. So I'm just taking this Morphe M510 brush. It's not my favorite. It does shed quite a bit, and I've had this for years and it's still shedding. It's fine. So I'm just gonna take Pink Seduction. You can see kind of how powdery that is. Tons of powder. Whoa, there's tons of powder now in front of me. I just wanted to show you guys what that looked like, and then we're just going to apply this on the tops of the cheeks, but also a little bit like on top of the entire perimeter of that blush, just so we don't have a strip of highlight, you know, and it's a little bit more blended in there. And kind of take it on the brow bone. Definitely really pretty, and it gives you a really nice amount of sheen. I probably would not go in with too much more just because I think that's gonna look pretty nice throughout the day, and I do have oily skin, so I am gonna produce more oils that'll kind of mesh with this a little, and I don't want the highlight to emphasize my oils, you know? And I do want to go in with the bronze shade, and I think I'm going to do this as like an inner corner and kind of bring it in probably a third through the eyelid and a little bit on the brow bone just to layer it with that pink one to get it to look a little bit more, not natural, but natural. And this is a BK and Nikki LaRose N12 brush. I've really been liking taking more highlighting type of shades and kind of pulling it up in the inner corner through the crease a little bit because it brings kind of like a more natural shine. It kind of just looks like your eyelids are glossy, and I've been really liking that because I feel like it like opens up my eyes a little. And then we're just gonna do a little bit on the brow bone right there. And lastly, I'm just gonna set the face. This is not Drugstore, but this is from Milk Makeup. It is their Hydro Grip. And then I'm also gonna set that with my One Size setting spray because we are celebrating one of our friends' birthdays tonight, and she is doing like a backyard bonfire type of thing. So because I want my makeup to stay longer, I'm going to layer my setting spray. All right guys, and here is what the makeup is looking like. It's a very nice, just natural look. This is kind of like more of an everyday look for me, but I really like that we were able to use creams and liquids. As you guys know, even though I have oily skin, those are my favorite type of products because they do tend to look the most natural, and I am all about that natural makeup look, especially these days. I love this lip combination. I'm gonna have to do this more often. I'm gonna have to try to perfect that lip stain on the outer corners here, but I feel like I'm kind of onto something. I'm definitely onto something with that extra little contour at the top and bottom. I like that one actually so much, and I'm surprisingly really enjoying the way that this highlight is sitting on my skin. I think that it's just adding a little bit of an extra sheen to it without it looking like an actual highlighter, and the fact that highlights are kind of coming back in a different sort of way where it's a little bit more subtle, a little bit more like ethereal type of look. I like that a lot, and I am here for that. I do think that I liked everything that I tried. I will say that probably the hardest things to work with had to be the foundation here, just because of that color, not necessarily the formulation, as well as the Milani one, just because the pigmentation is quite strong. But both of the products themselves, if you kind of learn how to work with them and like finesse them, they look really nice on the skin. I actually like the amount of pigmentation that this has. When it comes to this area of my face, I do tend to have a weird patch of skin here that doesn't like to hold on to pigmentation, and it always looks a little bit blotchy, but with this bronzer it kind of masks that in a sense. Like it almost sits on top of that patch of skin and makes it look how I want it to look. So that's one really good thing. I may pick up the lighter shade though, just to see how that does on my skin and see if it actually is more of a dupe for that Makeup by Mario one. And I do like the formulation of this foundation. I like that it's more of that serum-y type of texture, and it honestly feels like nothing on the skin. It's super, super lightweight. I am kind of sad that I don't have a perfect match, but that tends to happen a lot with me when it comes to drugstore makeup. It looks really good on the skin, set down really nicely, worked really well with all of my other products that I used today. This was a solid list of new drugstore makeup. Let me know in the comments down below if you have been trying anything new at the drugstore, or if you've tried any of these products. Let me know your thoughts on them. Let me know if you liked it, if it was helpful for you, and if it was, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!